episode 154.
Are you ready to take your eBay business to the next level? Then hold on, because Ron and Ali are going to take you into the fast lane with the latest tips and insights from some of the biggest and most successful sellers here on the So You Want to Sell on eBay podcast.
Welcome once again to another episode of So You Want to Sell on eBay. I'm Ron LeBeau.
And I'm Ali Young.
Hey, everyone. We have with us from New York, Bill Ingersoll. Bill, how are you doing today?
Not bad.
Awesome, Ali. Okay, let's ask Ali. How you doing, Ali?
No, it's good to know
there?
that not everyone in New York sounds like a mafioso. Because I'm from England and I always thought they all sounded like gangsters over there. But it's good to have you on board here, Bill.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, yeah, there's a big difference between upstate and downstate.
Oh, is it? All right.
Oh, okay. Kind of like England there, Ali.
Yes.
Okay, good. So Bill grew up racing motocross in New York. In 2008, he suffered a spinal cord injury during a race, and the accident marked a turning point in his life, catalyzing his eBay career selling Powersports Parts and eventually winning the global business category at the 2018 eBay Shine Awards.
Ron, I told you if we have someone special on the show, you need to tell me beforehand. I didn't realize we had an award winner.
I would tell you that about every customer,
Every
guest.
guest.
We have.
So tell us, you're a global business award winner. How did you go about that?
I mean, I think everybody that's a seller gets the email, and, I put it in a few times before, and this was the first year that I, had heard anything back from them, and, it was definitely a really cool experience.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that sounds awesome. So, as a winner, what do they do for you? Tell our listeners what they do for you. I mean, did they fly you out to Vegas for the eBay Open and stuff?
Yeah, we got to go out to the, the eBay Open, and, I guess we kind of got the VIP treatment out there, which was really cool.
Very nice.
Get to have dinner, with the other finalists and stuff like that, which is really cool because, everybody that's a finalist has a pretty unique story. So it's interesting to kind of hear everybody's backgrounds and the businesses they're in, and the stories are pretty cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, man.
So what was your story then? So all these cool stories, what was your story that got you to that point then?
I think it's just the amount of adversity, that I had to overcome, just to be alive more or less, and, let alone to have any success in business, which is, difficult. But it's when you have an injury like that, it's one of the, few avenues that you really have, I didn't suffer any brain injury or anything like that. So, I had a fully functioning mind to put it to work in business.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, my 7-year-old daughter has spina bifida, so I understand what spinal cord injuries and situations are like there. So kudos to you, man, because, it really would have been easy for you to kind of just sit back and say, I'm just going to collect a check or whatever you do. But, it's awesome to see that you have not only grown your eBay business, but look at you, man, global business category at the eBay Shine Awards. That's really awesome, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
So you took that passion that you used to have in motorbikes and that motocross and stuff like that, and now you're sort of selling parts and different types of motocross products on your eBay store. Is that it?
Yeah, I never went to college or anything like that for business, but I was kind of raised to have a good business sense. My grandfather was like American picker type, buying and selling stuff.
Nice.
Since the time I was a little kid, I was always with him, watching him, and then with my knowledge and ATVs and dirt bikes and stuff like that, it was kind of cool. The best option for me, because what I found in business is more than anything, it's you got to have knowledge in the field, but your business acumen is pretty much the same. So I just wanted to put it to work in a field where I was comfortable, because it's like one more variable that you can control when you know the market.
Yeah, no doubt. And, how cool is it that you're in a field that you know so well? I mean, a lot of people, struggle with when they go to eBay, get an eBay business started, they're like, what am I going to sell? What am I going to sell? So it is really awesome that you're in a market that you know really, really well.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things about eBay. At first, you'll get into it with what you know, but literally, there's probably everything in this room I could sell there if I wanted to. It's great how the marketplace can pretty much connect anyone with whatever they want to buy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So why eBay? So you come out of this accident. What led you to the point of doing eBay? Was it you got that experience from when you grew up, and then you saw eBay as an opportunity?
We're in a real rural area, and I didn't want to have to go and lease brick and mortar space and go that whole route because my entire youth I had pretty much seen other shops in this industry come and go. It's really hard to sustain because it's such a niche market to begin with. But with eBay's buyer base being so big, you could be a small seller and move as much as you want if you have the infrastructure in place.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. That's very interesting. Yeah. So, that kind of speaks to, the person who's saying, well, I can't sell on eBay. I live out in a very rural area, and we get people on like you, can't even talk today, people like you on here that are saying, you know what? No, I live pretty far out and I still am doing really well on eBay. So we love to remove excuses, don't we, Ollie?
We certainly do. And I like to learn about lumps of metal, because when I look at your store, all I see is lumps of metal. But to you, it's some engine part or something, is it?
Yeah, that's the one thing I learned from selling on eBay more than anything is, I think the way we were sort of ingrained to think was, if you didn't have a store for it, you weren't going to be selling it. And now everywhere you look, you kind of see money sitting there rather than
nice.
Junk. So, it's like...
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
To be able to take that junk, as some people call it, and to turn it into an actual business like you're doing. So let's talk about storing this and then we'll get into the shipping afterwards. But how do you, what you got, like a box with this is that type of metal and then that's that type of metal? How do you organize where all this metal's kept?
The building we operate out of is an older, it was a barn. At one time it was a farm. So we built shelf space in, and then everything that we sell is kind of a one-of-a-kind item, so we just associate the SKU number with either a tag or a label on the box, and we'll shelf it in that way, and that way too. Some items have multiple small pieces with them. We can bag them, have everything in the box together, and we don't have to worry about losing anything when we get an order in and we have to process it.
How cool is that, man?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's cool.
It really is cool. You know exactly where everything is, and like you said, you've got one of a kind items. And if I'm sitting there and I got a Polaris ATV, for example, I'm sitting there going, where am I going to find this part for that ATV? You're right there, and you got the exhaust pipe silencer, which I'm looking for, and I'm not, but yeah,
you are.
That's
now.
awesome, man. I am now. Yeah, I'm going to buy one.
It's time for a quick break, but the guys will be right back here on the So You Want to Sell on eBay podcast.
Join us for eCom Chicago, our 5th annual 3-day conference on October 18th through the 20th, specializing in e-commerce and business growth. Listen and learn from accomplished speakers in the e-commerce world, including eBay, Etsy, Merch by Amazon, Walmart, Jet, as well as many others. This will be an opportunity you don't want to miss. Network, share tips and tricks, challenges, and successes, and learn from expert speakers and sponsors, as well as the numerous attendees from across the U.S. Be sure to check out the special pre-show vendor day on October 18th live, where vendors will be focused on demos on products and services. Find all the info at ecomchicago.com. Use coupon code PODCAST to receive $20 off your registration. Visit ecomchicago.com. Sponsorship opportunities available. A repetitive question among eBay sellers is, how can I sell more? Another one is, what solutions should I use to grow my business? Today, we have an answer to both. 3D Sellers. It is a first-of-a-kind platform that combines all vital solutions for eBay sellers under one dashboard. 3D Sellers has powerful tools for you to increase sales. 3D Sellers will boost your feedback score with a smart feedback reminder. 3D Sellers will give your listings a professional look and bring repeat business with professional cross-selling emails, and it is easy to use. There are other tools too. 3D Seller combines all the tools you need. Just visit 3dsellers.com and start a free plan now. It is already trusted by over 200,000 eBay sellers. And now only So You Want to Sell on eBay listeners get a 20% discount for a pro plan. Just use the code podcast. Visit 3dsellers.com now and get ready to sell more.
Check us out online or on social media. Facebook.com/So You Want to Sell on eBay and Twitter @Your eBay Podcast.
So how does it work? Does it obviously this isn't like brand new stuff. So, do people just, they've got a broken part on their bike, they look on your store and say, oh, that's what I'm looking for? Or, how does it work with all this stuff?
It's a lot like a modernized version of like a auto salvage or a junkyard, more or less. I hate to say the word junk because it's not junk, but if you think of it in that way, that's very similar to what we do. Being that ATVs and dirt bikes and snowmobiles most of the parts are so small, it really, it really makes it better on the shipping end, but also on the storage end, which is nice because we can pretty much disassemble an entire, ATV and store it in pieces,
wow.
Without it taking up a fraction of the space it did complete. So, it really works out great in that way.
Jeez.
I've always loved tearing stuff apart, so that would be good. I'd love to do that. That'd be cool.
I am awesome at doing that. I'm just not very good at putting it back together again.
Yeah. On the flip side, too, it takes a lot out of the, training aspect when all they got to do is take the bolts out and not put them back in.
There you go. That's a job. If you're looking for a worker, I'm perfect for that job. So let's talk about shipping then. This stuff must weigh so much. You're not sticking it in a UPS envelope and doing it that way, are you? Or
we use mainly the flat rate boxes and even the padded envelopes. A lot of the parts we sell are very durable. So, a lot of the stuff we can, like hubs and things like that, we just put right in a padded envelope. And then I would say probably 75% of most of the units we fit in flat rate boxes. And if they don't, we use UPS for, all of our other shipping. Yep. Just from a reliability standpoint, we found UPS to be the best.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome, man. It gets you out and about, and you know what? You got a lot of good products there. But this barn thing, I'd love to see an image of this barn because it sounds like to me like you guys got a lot of cool products that a lot of people need, and like you said, they're one-offs in most cases.
Yeah, and with selling used items too, the condition varies a lot. From you could have two fully functional parts, but they have cosmetic differences that vary enough that you want to have a unique listing so that the customer sees exactly what they're buying.
Yep.
Now, do you ever do anything like modify or paint? Let's just say you get a rusty old, exhaust pipe or something. Do you ever sand it down and paint it to help improve it, or do you just throw it on eBay?
Our customer base, for the most part, are kind of do-it-yourself guys, and they'd rather pay a lower price. And being a do-it-yourselfer, they know the mechanical side of it, and they don't look so much at the cosmetic because it's not, it's not like an upgrade part or something like that to where it would, have a cosmetic advantage over the function of it. Yeah. And especially like in the vintage bikes and stuff like that, no one wants to touch something that someone's already tried to restore or improve.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, everybody's kind of got their own way and their own, I think part of the fun to most guys is doing the work themselves on this stuff. So, there are some shops that have good luck in doing stuff like refurbishing complete engines and stuff like that, but it's just not something we've grown to the point yet where we went, decide to go down an avenue like that.
Yeah. So what's sort of what's like an average day, and like for you, what's your average day? Do people bring this stuff around? Are you going out sourcing this stuff? What's your method from buying it to getting it on eBay to sort of selling it?
We use a lot of like insurance auctions and we get a lot of theft recoveries and things like that. And a lot of the auctions are online, so I'll sit on the computer, see what's coming up, make my purchases there, and then we just pick it up. If they're dirty, we wash them, we bring them into our shop, and then we begin the disassembly on them and, any further cleaning that's got to be done. And then we move them over to another department where they, they'll do the photos. If there's a blemish, they'll mark the blemish on the part. They'll associate a SKU number with it and all those sorts of things. And then from there, it gets listed online, and the rest is pretty much history.
Yeah, and I would imagine you have like repeat customers, because if I know that you have a 2004 Polaris Magnum, for example, or something, and you got parts for it, then why not go back to you if you treat me right? Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's accurate, but it's tough because you could have, with the amount of different models and model years and the variations there, it's really tough to always have something in stock that the customer is going to need, because if we tore down, say, 200 or 300 units, well, only maybe 3 of those, might be the same. So then you're talking, you only have 3 of that part at any given time. So, we'll work with a lot of other sellers that do the same thing, and some of us will drop ship from each other and stuff like that if we need to.
Oh, wow.
So we all kind of work together. Nobody's taking any food out of the other person's mouth.
I bet not. I bet plenty for everyone.
Yeah, it's a really it's a small industry, but everybody knows each other and works together. So it's nice in that regard.
Yeah, you said when you were going out and sourcing and buying, you kept saying we. So is there like a group of you that do this? You have like a team in place who are doing those imageries and stuff like that?
Yeah, like my employees and stuff, we're all kind of involved in just about every aspect of it. I mean, we have our primary job, but everybody is kind of, whether it's on a classified or an auction site, everybody's kind of looking for the inventory in that way. So it works out really good.
No, that's cool. And how many employees do you have?
I have 2 full-time and 1 part-time.
Wow, man, that's a pretty good sized business then.
Yeah, and the nice thing, we were able to grow it all off of cash flow rather than having to do loans and things of that sort. So it's like the most stress-free way you can grow a business, I think, is off of the cash flow when it'll support it.
So
what
happens? What happens to the stuff that you don't sell? Do you melt it down and make bullets? I mean, what do you do with the stuff that you don't have that doesn't sell?
Pretty much everything sells. I mean, I have stuff from 2014, that's still selling. So, but I mean, there are parts that after a while we'll just pull them off the shelf, and we'll separate our scrap metal out and kind of hoard it until the prices go up, and then just take it to the scrap yard and get some money back on it that way.
Give it as a Christmas present to someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't like them.
Yeah, there you go. Bought you. I was thinking about you. Here it is.
Yeah.
Here's a rear axle for you.
It's like a running joke in our shop. A guy will come up with a broken part and say, what are we going to do with this? I say, well, you can have it, Merry Christmas.
Nice. So they get gifts throughout the year then, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
That's what a good employer you are.
Yeah.
Ron and Ali will be right back after this short break.
So, you have an idea, a big idea, and you're ready to jump into the world of e-commerce. Awesome. But where to start? The answer is only a click away. At solutionsforecommerce.com, you'll find available services to help manage, audit, or even build your e-commerce site from the ground up. With over 10 years of experience in developing and managing channels on sites like Amazon, eBay, Shopify, and Etsy, Solutions for E-commerce can help you to grow your small or large business. Take a step back from the technical and do what you do best, and let Solutions for E-commerce handle the tedious stuff like creating, reviewing, adding, or removing listings, setting up or organizing store categories, even merchandising and customer support. Find out why their clients say that their business wouldn't be what it is today without the help from Solutions for E-commerce. Visit solutionsforecommerce.com and take your e-commerce business to the next level. That's solutions, the number 4, ecommerce.com. Use promo code eBay at checkout for an exclusive So You Want to Sell on eBay podcast discount.
Be sure to check out So You Want to Sell on eBay.com for the latest podcasts and all the information you need to get selling fast.
So would you be able to, so if I came up to you with any sort of engine part, are you one of those guys that says, right, that's one of those bikes that's from that year? I mean, can you tell what's what from anything?
Yeah, we actually just bought out like an old salvage yard, and a lot of the stuff wasn't labeled. So I'm the only one here right now that can identify the bulk of it. So, you know, it doesn't matter what the part is. I have a rough idea. And I mean, if it was Jeopardy, I'd be making a living off of it. So, you know.
Nice.
Can you tell?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Being a fan of, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, being a fan of and an enthusiast, you know, like as a kid, I was obsessive about it. So, you know, pretty much from the early 90s right up until now, I know most of the machines that they've made, and I can identify the parts, and, you know, I know all the things to look for when we buy them and stuff. So that's been a huge advantage.
Yeah. What about like years? I mean, every part, sometimes they fit multiple years, sometimes they don't. Are you pretty good at that too, saying that this part is good for 2003 to 2005 or something like that? Is that?
To an extent, but we use another service where we'll, you know, run the part number for the part that we have, and it'll show us the compatibility. And, you know, then we just have to manually enter it. Yeah. It's a big help, you know, because in the early days when we were selling, we didn't, you know, have access to that service. It was really tough because, you know, you could have one part that fits 1,000 different machines, you know, but without being able to run that part number and know definitively, I'd never be comfortable listing it that way. So
exactly. And you could be missing out on sales, you know, by not putting a right year on there or an additional year. Yeah,
definitely. And it's tough too, because, you know, we always get customers who aren't quite sure the year of their machine or exactly what it is. So, you know, there's a lot that goes into it that way of, you know, when a customer does have an issue, figuring out what it is they exactly needed, you know, rather than having to just do a return and lose the sale completely.
Jeez, it sounds all so technical, but it sounds like you've mastered it. So how many years have you been doing this, do you say?
We opened our eBay store in 2010, and then prior to that, me and my grandfather kind of like bought and sold as a hobby a little bit, but, you know, nothing online until eBay.
That's a cool story, man. I love to hear stories like that when, you know, grandpa or dad kind of brought you up into something like that, and then you kind of took over. And, you know, just kind of neat when you hear, like, you know, multiple generations, you know, doing something like that. That's really cool. I'm sure your grandfather is very special to you.
Yeah, and he actually passed away last June. So, you know, I wish he could have seen me, you know, get the Shine Award, because there was a dream of his to see the business grow and stuff. And I mean, he got to, but he would have really gotten a kick out of that. So
that'd have been cool.
That would have been cool.
So that'd have been a good picture on stage.
Yes.
Both of you.
With Granddad. So what's your plan here? Are you going to sort of, you know, keep building this up, keep making this bigger? You're going to get warehouses all over America? I mean, what's your future goals here?
I mean, I'm pretty happy where this is at right now, but there's definitely, you know, some other stuff I'd like to get into, you know, selling on eBay. But, you know, for the time being, at least within the next 3 years or so, this is pretty much where I'm going to be at. So, you know, I want to keep this business going regardless.
So what would you say to somebody who's listening to this right now and they're thinking about starting an eBay business and may or may not know exactly what they want to sell? What would you say about having the eBay business as a source of income?
It's definitely doable, but to me personally, my preference is to just go where my knowledge base is, because there's so many moving parts to running a business that you can't really control. The better you know your market, you know, the better your odds of success. So, you know, I would say just go with where your knowledge base is, and then test your business acumen and your appetite for a business in that way. And then, you know, then you can grow from there. And you know, to me, business is one of those things that it's kind of boring, because once you build your infrastructure in place, all you're doing is keeping up with changes in the market, you know, because there's only so much that you can squeeze out of your profit margins and things like that, to the point where, you know, you just basically want to monitor the market and keep an eye on what your competitors are doing and what new technologies are available, because automation is, like key to any business. The more you can automate, the better off you are.
Yeah. Gosh.
Yeah, Jim Cockrum's a huge seller online, and he always says only do the things that only you can do, which is really, it makes a lot of sense, right? So get other people to do the things that that they can do.
Yeah, and I think it really depends on how big you want your business to be, because you could be a $10 million a year company with 50 or 100 employees, and if you have the appetite for that, it'll be great. But if you don't, it's going to be one of the worst experiences of your life, getting to that point and realizing this isn't what I wanted, because you have families who are relying on it, you have customers who are used to dealing with it, and it's really tough at that point to make a decision for yourself when there's so many other people that are affected. So to me, I just say, use your knowledge base, get into it small, see what you estimate for growth potential, and then, build your business from there. I think in the past, I think they put so much emphasis on growth and things like that people don't even look at their profit margins until they've already got themselves in trouble. They don't even know how to look at a, financial statement and read it correctly. So, they've never inked out along the way that they might be able to have a, $800,000 sustainable business with a few employees and have none of that stress and make a great living. So, and you don't even have to be doing hundreds of thousands. You get in the right market, you can source your products cheap enough. A one-person show could make a good living on eBay, just in their free time. So I think it's more about your appetite for business and just being sensible with the decisions you make.
Right. Yeah. I like that. So I'm looking at your photos here, and almost all of them have a pure white background. How are you doing that? Are you doing that with a photo booth, or are you photoshopping the image, the color, the background on? How are you doing that?
No, we built a photo booth, and then I had to research lighting a little bit. I'm by no means a photographer, but we were able to get it in a way where we could train guys as they come in to learn it easily, and it's really worked out good, because the photos are a huge selling point.
Yeah,
You could take one part, photograph it two different ways, and you'd have completely different sales and sale prices off of it. I see it all the time, so that's the main hurdle, but
it's worth it. It's worth the time.
Yeah,
and I like that you're not shy about taking pictures. I see, most of them, you got 5 or 6 images, so you're getting all the angles, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and that's huge, because a lot of customers, they want to inspect that part themselves before they'll click buy. And if they can't do that from the photos, they really don't care what you say in the description.
Yeah.
And it's not everyone, but the majority of them, they want to inspect that part themselves. So, we try to give them the best ability to do that without having to upload, 6,000 pictures at the end of the week. So.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a common thing that most people like imagery or videos or stuff like that these days, so I suppose it's worth the time. So would you invest more time on a certain product than you would on another product for imagery?
Yeah, we kind of judge by where the value is. We want to make sure that, if we're selling a $1,000 or $2,000 engine, that someone has more than enough photos there to be confident with at least the exterior condition, and I also find, though, at those price points that the quality of the buyers is much better than on the lower dollar items. They really spend the time to research what they're buying over the lower dollar items. But, we end up with a lot of parts that you're making dollars or pennies on. But what we found is, I think it really helps for, being in the market, being seen, and people being familiar with your store name or your user ID. That goes a long way. So, even though you're not really, you're not raking in the cash on those small buys, it does a lot for, your relevancy in the marketplace, and at the very least, they cover your fees at the end of the month.
Definitely. Geez, so we're running out of time here. I've already asked my last question, but is there in your industry like what's a weird thing that you've sold? We always like to add that one, because people been doing eBay like you have for 7 years. So, I mean, has there been something that you bought that you thought that wouldn't sell, or has there just been something weird, or has there been that special item?
I would say like the old three-wheeler parts from the 80s.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I had those guys Yamaha 200, man.
Yeah. And I mean, that stuff is coming back really good now, but, we had an old, it was a Tiger 200 three-wheeler, and we had gotten the frame for it, and, it was pretty well hacked up, but we did the research on it and found out they were pretty rare. So, we listed it, and that thing sold within an hour or two of listing it for $1,500. And,
cool.
I was going to go to the dump before that. So,
Isn't that crazy?
Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. You're going to throw it away, and it ended up being worth a lot of money. So that's amazing. Well, Bill, thanks for spending the time with us today. We've really enjoyed it. It's just another one of those stories that if you sell what you love, you can make it work. And it's such a common theme on this show. You find a niche that you're good at, that you really enjoy doing, and then you start selling it and making money from it, and then creating a community around it. So seriously, thanks for spending the time with us, Bill. It's been really good. We'll post all the notes from today's interview on our show notes page, which can be found at www.soyouwantasellonebay.com/show notes. Bill, before you leave us, what's the best way people can get in contact with you?
Facebook, Instagram. We're pretty active there. My business page, just Facebook/BTQ LLC, and same for Instagram.
Cool. Okay, so we'll add all that to the show notes. Once again, Bill, cheers for joining us. From everyone here at So You Want to Sell on eBay, I'm Ali Young.
And I'm Ron LeBeau.
That's all for this episode of So You Want to Sell on eBay. Be sure to check out our next episode or any past episodes by going online to soyouwantasellonebay.com. Also, be sure to follow us on your favorite social media sites, facebook.com/So You Want to Sell on eBay, and Twitter @Your eBay Podcast. Thanks for listening, and until next time, happy selling.
Have an idea for a topic or know someone who would like to be on the show? Let us know. Just go to www.soyouwantasellonebay.com/interview. We look forward to hearing from you. This podcast was produced in part by Pro Voice Works.